Okay, so we're going to be talking about loans. So just quickly here before we get to some examples. When you are doing a loan, you're going to be making payments. So let's say that your payment is $500 per month. Okay, well, right off the hop, the majority of your payment is going to go towards interest. So let's just say at the start, it could be something like 300 interest, 200 could go to the principal. But by the end, you could be 400 could be going to the principal and 100 to the interest. So as you go through a loan, at the very start, you're high interest, low principal, but then by the end, most of your money is going off of your principal. Okay, so that's the pattern that you would see. Okay, so we're going to use the formula to solve for question 2 and 3 here. So finding a future value or present value of a loan, and we're going to be using the formula. So Trina's employer loaned her $10,000 at a fixed interest rate of 6% compounded annually to pay for college tuition and textbooks. The loan is to be repaid in a single payment on the maturity date in 5 years. Okay, how much will Trina need to pay her employer at the maturity date? So we're going to be using this formula. Okay, so A is going to stand for the future value, and P is the present value, 1 plus the interest, and don't forget to divide it if it is something different. So I'm just going to write a division by 1 just so we remember. So your interest rate divided by 1 because it's compounded annually. And this ends up being 5, and we're going to actually say times 1, just so you get used to. If this is annual, then you're only going to do that annually. You don't need to times it. Okay, so on your calculator, just making sure you're doing it correctly with brackets. So 10,001 plus 0.06 to the 5th. Okay, so in 5 years, she is going to owe her employer this much money. What is the interest on her loan? So the interest would be that she paid this much altogether, and her loan was for this much. So she paid over $3,000 of interest. Okay, so using the formula to find the present value. So Annette wants a home improvement loan to renovate her kitchen. Her bank charges 3.6% compounded quarterly. She already has a 10-year GIC that will mature in 5 years. When her GIC reaches maturity, Annette wants to use that money to repay the home improvement loan with 1 payment. She wants the amount of the payment to be no more than $20,000. So how much can she borrow? Okay. So I'm going to write this formula just so we can see it. So she wants to end up with no more than $20,000, and this time we want to know what she would be able to borrow then. So 1 plus 0.036 is the interest rate, but don't forget it says compounded quarterly. Okay, and it will mature in 5 years. So now, also don't forget, 5 years, but 5 years worth of 4 payments is really the number. So the N is not representing the years, the N is representing the number of payments. Okay, so we're going to be doing 20,000 divided by, and this is how we're typing it in. So that's what we want to know. Okay, so make sure you practice typing that in so that you can figure out how to type it in properly. $16,718.86. So that's as much as she would be able to do for a loan. So if she did that as her loan, how much interest would she pay? So the interest is going to be the $20,000 minus the initial loan.